Welcome everyone, my name is Garrett and today we're going to go through the Universal 5 treatment from the coMra user guide. Now what we're going to do specifically, we're going to go through the protocol, the little table that's in the guide. Then we're going to show on the mannequin the corresponding points. And then I'm going to show you on my body where these points are so you can get a sense for yourself a little more practically. And also there'll be a few anatomy pictures just to give you a little look at what's happening under the skin, under the hood, so to speak. On that note, in subsequent videos, we'll go into more depth in terms of when the treatment should be applied or could be applied, who it's applicable for, what conditions, as well as how many courses of treatment to do, pauses between courses of treatment, and get into the rationale behind the treatment so you can get a deeper, broader understanding of the whole thing. This video also presupposes that you already know how to use your coMra therapy device. If you don't, check the link below for the operating instructions for your device and the attendant video. And also in this video, we're going to use the coMra Therapy app as it is on your phone, the app as it is online, and the PDF app so you can see the different views on the treatments from the different applications. Okay, so let's get started with the coMra app. So you have a few options here. You can use the search, and we said universal, so we say UNI, and right away we see the universal treatments, and we can go to universal 5 that way. Or if we look at what are you treating today, the bottom it says protocols. When we look at the protocols, we'll see the universal protocols, and we can select the universal 5 section. And again, I said it was going to go through the protocol, so we're going to scroll through the first part and get to the part that says protocol on the coMra app. And then point number 1, top of sternum. And that corresponds to a point on the mannequin. So now I'm going to show you that on my body. Just before we start, we opted for average person, regular person, and I happen to be a regular person like yourself, so we're just going to use my body, okay? So we start here, we have the collarbones, and we have this soft point between them in your throat. Just above that, you have a hard spot, and this is the top of your sternum. So now we don't want to, when we aim, whenever we're treating with the coMra, as you would have seen in your operating instructions, you're aiming for the laser for the point, okay? So if you look at it from the back, there's kind of a cross here, and from the front, that cross here corresponds to the lasers in the front. So what I'm going to do, if my finger's at the top edge here of my sternum, I want to be down from that a little bit with the treatment point. Say, 3/4 of an inch or an inch or whatever, somewhere around there. And that's going to correspond to placing the edge of the coMra palm, the edge of the coMra therapy device, the treatment edge, where the lights come out, okay? That's going to correspond to the edge I want to align with my sternum. So just like that, okay? And I'm going to place that there for 5 minutes at 5 hertz. And you can see in this anatomy picture, here's the sternum, this is the top part of the sternum. And the why of that, like I say, we'll get into in subsequent videos. Okay, so now let's go to the next treatment point. And this one is point 2, bottom of the sternum, and it says 1 minute at 5 hertz. So when we look on the mannequin, we see point 2 is down on the chest area. And on my body, I just mentioned it a second ago, your solar plexus. And then you have a bone here. Don't worry about this little bone, but above the bone, you'll notice where the ribs tie together. There's going to be a couple of bumps. This little bone's xiphoid process, doesn't matter. So again, that bottom edge of the sternum, just where here's the soft tissue, xiphoid process, bottom of the sternum. I'm going to place the edge of the coMra palm on that edge of the sternum and place it right here for down here. Now I could turn that around and do it this way as well, or this way, it doesn't matter. And when you're treating a point, if you're a little bit off either way, up, down, side to side, doesn't matter, as long as you're in the general area. Now, if you're trying to treat your sternum and you put it up here, that's not going to work, obviously, that's too far. So let's look at the next treatment point. And we have second intercostal, left of sternum for treatment point 3. Okay, and when we look at the mannequin, what we're seeing is it's not too far from the first one and just to the side, okay? Now on my body, what we're looking at Remember I said the collarbone. So after the collarbone or below the collarbone is some soft tissue. Then we have a rib. Then we have another space. This is the first intercostal space, then the rib, then the second intercostal space, just like it says in the protocol. Now, you don't have to press hard to find this. You can feel your ribs pretty readily. And then you move your finger in and you can feel the edge of your sternum. I can feel the edge of my sternum about right there. So again, I'm going to want the laser just into that soft tissue. So I'm going to say about half an inch or a centimeter off. So when I'm placing my finger, there's the edge of the sternum. I'm just move it over a bit. I can place my coMra therapy device right on where my finger was, and I'm in that second intercostal space, okay, on the left hand side. Next treatment point number 4, we're second intercostal, right of sternum. So again, the same thing, collarbone, soft space, rib, next space, okay, second intercostal, left of sternum. So we go 1, there it is right there. So then we're just treating right here. So it's down from this point, it's a little triangle area we're treating. Okay, and you'll see here on the anatomy picture where I'm pointing to. Okay, next one we have is point number 5. This is the fourth intercostal, left of sternum. You're going to see this treatment point in a lot of treatments, okay? And when we go down to the mannequin, we're going to see point number 5 right here, this point down the mannequin, and there's an exclamation point. Now, we'll scroll up here in the coMra app, and we can see this exclamation point corresponds to this attention in treating the heart area. Never use a frequency other than 5 hertz. So that's one aspect of it. And do not place any of the terminals within 30 centimeters or 1 foot for those who use imperial of the heart and cardiostimulators on patients who have cardiostimulators. In other words, if someone has a pacemaker for their heart, you don't want to place the coMra therapy device anywhere within 1 foot or 30 centimeters of that, or the stimulator itself, which will often be up in the top of the chest cavity somewhere. If you do have that and you want to move closer than that distance, please get in touch with your medical specialist and have them work with you to make sure things are safe. But don't go within there, within that distance on your own, okay? Thank you. So back to the treatment. When we look at that fourth intercostal, left of sternum, again, on my body, we have collarbone, soft space, okay? So then rib, soft space is the second one, rib, soft space is the third one, and then rib, soft space is the fourth one. Okay, so I can do that with my fingers. Depends on the body, you might not be able to. You could also go 1, rib, 2, rib, 3, rib, 4. Okay, and again, the sternum down here is over fairly far on my chest because there's cartilage and things there. So you're just going to move over from there and place your coMra therapy device and do your treatment point. And that happens to be your heart. Okay? Next treatment point, frontal lobe. Now, when we look at that, frontal, 1 minute per point at 50 hertz. You notice it says per point. When you look at the mannequin, you're going to see for point number 6, 2 dots connected by a line, which means 1 minute on the left side and 1 minute on the right side. And then also with number 6, you'll notice an exclamation point again. So we come back up here. Do not place any of the terminals within 30 centimeters of neurostimulators on patients who have neurostimulators. So if someone has a device that's in their brain in some way to stimulate the nervous system in some way, don't treat within 30 centimeters or 1 foot of that. Again, same thing. If it's you and you want to go closer to that, you need to consult with your professional, your medical professional. So on my body, point 6, that frontal is right here. Very simple. And what I'm going to do, I usually will go above my eyebrow with the edge of the coMra device and then onto the area, okay? Just for, and it doesn't matter if you're here or here or here or here, just that area. You could be a little bit above your eyebrow if that's more comfortable for you, but in here is the frontal lobe of your brain. Next treatment point we have are the temples. Again, 1 minute per point at 50 hertz. Again, when you look at the mannequin number 7, you'll notice there's 2 points with a line between them. That means treating both the left and the right side. Now on my body, everyone's familiar with the temples because it's that kind of soft point. You press on, you can feel it pretty readily. On the side of your head, okay, you have your cheekbone and then you have this big bone here to protect the side of your eye. And just between those is soft. And this is where I'm going to place the coMra device, okay? Again, left and right side. Next point, point 8, which is suboccipital. So what that is, you have points on the back of your head, as we see in the mannequin. Again, 1 minute per point at 50 hertz. That means there's going to be more than one point to do. And when we look at 8 on the mannequin, we see 2 points connected by a line for treatment point 8. So we're going to do the left and the right side. Now, where is that point on the back of the head? It's going to be a little bit different for everybody. But basically, there's a bump on the back of your head. And where that bump is, right here, okay? I'll turn around and show you. So that point on the back of the head, is the occiput, and you're going to want to be below that. So subocciput is below that. And then you'll notice on the mannequin, on me, I have neck muscles that tie into the base of my skull, as do you, at that suboccipital point. And this is where you're going to treat. And of course, in the center, I have my spine. So in this, I'll show you on my back. In the center, I have my spine. That's the subocciput, or this is the occiput, so below that. In the center, the neck muscle. So I'm going to place the coMra therapy device, if you notice, right there. Okay, so the center of my spine is here, the occiput is here. Okay, so the coMra therapy device fits in that little quadrant, so to speak. And again, same thing on the other side. The next one we get into is the adrenals. Now this point is not that easy to treat, but once you get used to it, it's much easier to treat. Why I say not easy to treat is because it's on the back. So it takes a little bit of finesse and practice to get used to it, but I'm going to show you the basics. It says 2 minutes per point at 5 hertz. And then right under it, it says 2 minutes per point at 50 hertz. You're going to notice on the PDF, it says 2 minutes per point per frequency. So let's look here at the mannequin. You're going to notice on the mannequin, 0.9 doesn't have an exclamation point, but it has kind of like crosshairs, a target. And when we look below on the app, if we look at the information section, the eye, we're going to click on that, on the plus sign, and then it says to find the adrenal glands, trace a line between the elbows to locate the kidneys. And in on the mannequin picture, that's the blue line. Then move up to the last rib and then out about 3 centimeters from the center line of the spine, which is the red line on the mannequin. So I'm going to turn around so the sound won't be as good, but let me show you. So when I turn around, the elbow, there's a line from one elbow that goes to the other elbow. And for me, I can put my hand across my back and grab my elbow. You may or may not be able to do that. You'll notice that my arm is parallel to the floor. So this is the line we're talking about on the mannequin. This is the line on your body. And then the red line, that's the blue line across here, okay? And then the red line is the center of my spine, okay? The center of my back, my spine. So when I hold a coMra therapy device, I'm going to hold it like this, okay? Do you see that? You can see that, okay? So right now I'm parallel. I can feel my elbow on the other side, and I know where the center line is. So I'm just going to move over a little bit. And what you're going to notice, I'm going to turn this palm around. My hand is just under the edge of the terminal part. In other words, the round part where the radiances come out. So when I turn it around, you'll see like that. Yeah? Okay. So this is treating one side. So this is treating one side. And then the same thing for the other side. Again, the terminal part of the device is above my hand, this part. Turn it around. And that's going to be, here's the center. I move it over a bit, and I can just put my elbow back here so I know I'm parallel to the floor for the blue line, and I can treat here like that. Okay. Okay. Now, what you can also do is lay your device on a sofa. I could sit back and do it. So for instance, I'm going to sit down. Okay, I'm sitting at the couch. I can put it back here on my back and then just lean into it. Okay, I'm sitting down. Maybe I'm watching TV or reading a book or something. But I can sit like this and leave the device behind my back to do that treatment. And then with then when it's done, I can change sides and do the other side, okay? And just feel for it, and you'll get the practice of that. Obviously, I could do the same lying down, where I lay the device on, let's say, the sofa, and then I'm just gonna lay back on the device, just like this, and I'll feel. Oh, it's not in the right spot. I've got to get a bit of practice. So then I can feel where to put the device. And it's that simple. Okay, well, thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful. We will go through more of these practical treatment videos about how to place the device on the body. And as I said, the more, let's say, in-depth of the why of the treatments, but in subsequent videos, so we don't have one huge video. We'll see you next time. Thank you.